Integers. What is an integer? Easy answer, we could say they're counting numbers. Zero is an accounting number, right? We start counting at 1. And then the opposite of the counting numbers. Okay, so we're pretty familiar with the counting numbers. We're pretty familiar with 0. Opposite, what does opposite mean? Okay, so there's a few ways to think about opposite. One way to think about opposite is on a number line. So if we have our number line here, and we used to start our number line at 0, and then count 1, 2, 3, and so on, right? Like a ruler. But now we're saying we can go the other way. And we can have things like -1 and -2 and -3. So the opposite number is on the other side of 0 and has the same distance from 0. It's one way to think about it. Same distance from 0. But on the other side of the number line. That's one way to think about opposite. Now, with that idea in mind, we do have ideas of opposites. So we have opposite directions, like up versus down. And often we think about up as positive and down as negative. Like think about sea level, above sea level, below sea level. Think about temperature, above freezing, below freezing. So that's kind of a good example too. So imagine we have a thermometer sitting outside the window. And that thermometer has a 0 degrees Celsius, which marks where freezing is at 0 and below. And so then down here, we have our negative numbers like -1 and -2. And up here, we have our warmer numbers like +1, +2, and so on. So there's lots of context where we can use this idea of opposite, like up, down, positive, negative. We could do something like right and left, which is pretty much what we're doing on the number line. We can think about money, right? Positive would be to have money versus negative would be to owe money. So some different contexts about 0, positive, negative, opposite. Other idea about the opposite number of a number comes from subtraction. In addition, together, what number do I add to a given number to get 0? And if we're only familiar with whole numbers, then we would not have an answer to that. So then we have to introduce the idea of negative numbers. So the answer to this question right here would be, well, -3 plus 3 equals 0. So that's why -3 is the opposite of 3.